Listen, if it's one thing that I'm pretty sure we're all aware of is that life is out here moving fast, okay? It's a lot going on. We got society telling us what we should be doing, we should be, all while we're still trying to figure ourselves out. But you know what we can do? We can be mindful of where we are in this present moment and take small steps towards becoming better by the day and towards reaching our God-given purpose. So let's figure it out and work through it together. Welcome to Mindful Moments, y'all. A space where we talk it out, laugh it out, cry it out, hash it out. Listen, just get it all out, okay? This is a safe space for you where we talk about the ups, the downs, even the in-betweens. A place where we go through it so we can grow through it. Tune in every week as we fill our minds with who we're destined to be, with positivity, with awareness, and honestly, just with love. So I encourage you, let's be mindful of today in hopes for, yes, a better you, but also in hopes for a better tomorrow. Again, welcome to Mindful Moments. Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Moments. I'm your host, Jada Lowe, and let's chat, y'all. Grab your lunch, grab your food. If you're in your car, please grab your steering wheel. If you are at work, grab your AirPods or your earphones, or I love y'all too, but if you got a Samsung, grab something. Grab your Beats. I'm going to stop messing with y'all. Do what you need to do to get comfortable. We're about to have a good episode. And what's something... For starters, what's something that you guys have been more mindful of and in this past week, and what's something that you guys want to be more mindful of and just more cognizant of in this week? So think about that as we walk through this episode, and I hope you guys enjoy. So let's get to it. Y'all excuse that was the air freshener in the building. But yeah, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I've had to learn recently, and it's been how to receive your blessings. I I wonder sometimes, like, if when we pray for things, some things I believe God gives us packaged how we want, delivered how we want, right? But there are some other things that I believe God intentionally gives it to us and delivers it to us in a way that we totally didn't expect it. So have y'all ever had that happen to you? Leave a comment, message me, or whatever. Like, has that ever happened to you? Have you ever prayed for something and you got it, but you didn't get it? I'm tracking. Hear me out. So I'll put it this way. Let's say, and how have you handled it? But for a better picture and a better representation, let's say you get, let's say you prayed for said blessing and you wanted it to come in a big box with a red bow. But you get a blessing from God and he tells you that it's in the aspect or the area of your life that you want it in, but it's in a small box, like the size of what you could put a ring or earrings in, and it has a blue bow, right? So you know that you're getting what you prayed for, but you're not getting it wrapped how you thought it should get wrapped. How does that, depending on what it is, that kind of makes me feel some type of way. I'm still working on being open to, it's one thing to say, God, bless me, but it's another thing to say, God, bless me how you want to bless me. Because now when I say that, I'm giving full reign to him to do it how he wants to, when he wants to, and where, like, I'm giving him complete control in the logistics of the blessing, right? And it's easier said than done, especially when it comes to things that we really want And when God actually moves in that, it's not that I am, or it's not that we can be ungrateful, but it's like, you really gave me this differently than what I prayed for it. And that doesn't take away the fact that it's good. It's great. But it goes back to the segment that we talked about, or a reel that I dropped about taking the parameters off of God's blessings. It goes back to that. It's like we pray for these things. And yes, there are certain things, like I said, God gives it to you how, when, and where. Like he gives it to you that way. But there are other ways where he gives it to us that isn't what we expected. And I believe that's for two reasons: to either show us the power that can be packed in your blessing being wrapped differently from what you desire, and so our expectations can be exceeded. Because at the end of the day, when God blesses us, it's never not for our good. It's always for something better and something great, right? But I think, myself included, I'm guilty of it. I think that we can get so caught up in the delivery and the packaging of it to where it makes us make like a little, because it's like, if it doesn't come how I want it to look, I don't even want to open it. If I'm praying for this blessing and I want it to come, like I said, in a big box with a red bow, and you give me a small box with a blue bow, what makes you think I want to open the small box when I wanted it this size? But little do you know, that little box could have a key that could open doors to more blessings. That box has the access that you want to be able to get to the other blessings that God has for you. But you won't know that because you being so stank looking at the little box with the blue bow. If I go back and listen to that part. But it makes sense. It really makes sense, because when we get so caught up in the look of the blessing, and now it doesn't look like I thought it would look. When if you actually even are prayerful over the blessing that you receive, you'll see why God did it the way and gave it the way he gave it to you. And just because it's not wrapped how you want doesn't mean it's not just as good. Don't judge a book by its cover, and don't judge God's blessings by the box or the method of delivery. And that's just something to learn as I believe we grow spiritually. And I think God is low-key funny, because I think he does that with certain blessings to serve as a reminder to, like, for one, you told me to bless you how I wanted to, and now I'm doing it. You getting what you asked for. And two, to also show that even the things we pray for, he ultimately knows what we need. And that can be twofold. Like, we can pray for this one big thing and we get the blessing to a smaller degree and prevent ourselves from opening ourselves up to it without realizing that within that one small blessing, like I said before, is an avenue to 10 more bigger blessings. But you won't ever know that if you don't open it. And on the flip side, you could just be wanting a blessing in the sense of something maybe to a smaller degree. Like sometimes I pray for God to just show me the next step. I don't need to see, even though sometimes I try to see the bigger picture or make the bigger picture, I know, and God sure enough know, I don't need to see. I have an understanding of it, but I don't need to vividly see the whole thing, because I'll be overwhelming myself and end up not, anywho. But I've been praying lately for just show me the next step. And to me, that is not to discredit it, but that is a smaller degree of blessing, so to speak. And so what do you do when that small step that you're taking actually requires a big action? is actually a big leap of faith. So now you're expecting this blessing, in a sense, to come in a small step or in a small package or in a small movement, when in all actuality, it's requiring you to do something way bigger than yourself. And I believe too that God does those, each scenario in different seasons of our life, to help us to depend on him and ultimately consult him about what he's blessed us with. I don't think, or not think, I know God doesn't give us blessings to just be able to handle the blessings ourselves. When we're blessed with things, it requires greater responsibility. It requires, it just requires a larger degree of responsibility. And it's just, God's delivery can be eye-opening for us, especially when we don't receive blessings the way we want to. And I believe it's to teach us how to grow. It's to help us to learn and just to develop a dependence on him. Because if you're not, a lot of the times we pray for things the way we pray to be blessed a certain way because we've pictured how we can operate and how we can handle it and how we can control it. So when he blesses us with something that's totally opposite, while still the same in the sense of the area of our life that we're looking for it in, but when it comes in a different packaging through a different delivery, and it's the same area but a different blessing, or like a different logistically, we turn our nose up at it because it's like I don't have control over the thing that I've been blessed with. But some things, when it comes to God's blessings, some things, even the things that we're blessed with, I believe some things we're not even meant to, some blessings we aren't meant to understand, because it requires us to go to God to get that understanding over how to handle it and maintain the blessing. And that, I believe too, it helps us to understand God's will and to pray for a greater sense of alignment with what we would like for God to bless us with. And I didn't even realize that until just talking through that, because and it can be easy to get caught up in praying for things to be done your way. And some of that just comes out of just talking to God and giving him the natural and deep desires of your heart. But I do believe too that, and I've been trying to do better about just making it a point to say, God, ultimately, you know what I need, and will you bless me in the way that you see fit? Because I know, even though I know you'll bless me with what I want, but I also trust that if I'm not ready for what I want, and even if what I want isn't in alignment with you, that you'll give me what I need. And that is ultimately what I wanted to just kind of hint at, is that sometimes with God, everything is not what it seems, in the sense of how he blesses us. Sometimes the things that God blesses us with isn't what it seems, not in a bad way, but in a way that causes us to have a different outlook on his blessings, on how and what we ask for, and to encourage a greater dependence on him. But yeah, it reminds me of the Wizards of Waverly Place theme song. Everything is not what it seems. Anywho, but the overarching idea, no matter how God gives it to you, when, where, or who he uses to give it to you, at the end of the day, is what you need. And it's sometimes like God will surprise you now. He will definitely surprise you. And I think that's ultimately, that's why too, is just to kind of, I think God does it to show us a lot of things, but it's also to show us like, hey, like, I got your back. I know what you need. I know this isn't how you wanted it. I know this isn't when you wanted it. And I know this, in some cases, may have not been what you wanted or on the time frame that you were expecting it to be. But ultimately, this is what you need right now, and this is how you need to receive it. So that way you can look back on it down the line and be thankful that it happened the way it did, and to ultimately see sometimes too, if it would have happened your way, it it wouldn't have gotten you as far as it would have with being blessed my way. And so I just wanted to remind y'all of that as you're going throughout your week. And even as you're praying for things and praying for blessings in this season or this week or even in today, to, yes, give God the desires of your heart, but also surrender the delivery method of your blessings and surrender the wrapping and the packaging, so to speak, of your blessings as well to him, and just let him send it to you how he wants to send it to you. Don't put your blessings in a box. Don't put your blessings in a box. And just remember that as you go throughout your day. And I want you guys to be encouraged, walking this week, knowing that you are capable and that you are worthy. And just remember to be mindful of those things that you want to be a little bit more mindful of. And to give yourself some grace and to be patient with yourself. And I love you guys. Be sure to, y'all message me on Instagram about some questions that y'all may have, topics that y'all want me to discuss. My Instagram is @O3Hs, OHHH _ Jada, JADA. But yeah, y'all talk to me. And don't forget to like us on YouTube and subscribe on YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give your girl a follow. But yeah, like I said, don't put your blessings in a box. And you guys have a great week. And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mindful Moments. I want y'all to remember this. Take it one step at a time. Know that you're capable. Know that you're worth it. Be intentional and know that everything you need to accomplish the things you want is already inside of you. But look, y'all, the podcast doesn't end here, okay? Be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at O_Jada. That's O with 3 H's _JADA. You can see the visuals from past episodes and segments, and maybe even some teasers for upcoming episodes. And be sure to follow and like Mindful Moments on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and even Google Podcasts. And as you go through your day, remember to be mindful of today in hopes for a better tomorrow. I'll see you in the next episode.